Welcome to the very exciting Standard Financial Statement and How to Complete It webinar. This is a third webinar in the long list of webinars we've done of late, whereby we're looking to get people out of debt, allow them pay off their own homes, do the deals with the bank if there is a deal, and if there isn't, to work out a solution that suits your lender and suits yourself in order to keep your mortgage being paid off, get the loan performing again. So I just want to say hi, so you know what I look like. So I'll come off on the screen now and we'll chat away. But effectively what we're finding is people are getting really bogged down in this, completing this standard financial statement. It seems to be killing them. You have to fill it yourself. The questions on it aren't too tough or anything, but people are just seem to be struggling to get it out the door. Okay, there's two sides to this. When you go to your bank to try and get your finances under control, they put this big document at you, and it gets rid of you for maybe 2 or 3 months because they just say, "Oh, look at the website," or "Come back to us with this," but it's not straightforward. But the one thing I will say is that it's different for fellas and ladies. Ladies will get it done quicker, and that's the way it works. Just a quick thing about myself. Our details are on our website, barryaccountants.ie. We've got an offer coming up after today, and I'll explain it now in a few moments. I'm a chartered accountant, liquidator, business owner. I recently completed the diploma in insolvency. And what I'm finding is going broke, or nearly going broke, is less of a worry if you're set up correctly in the first place, and that you don't lose everything. But if you do lose everything, it's not the end of the world. I've also joined this company, irishpersonalinsolvency.com, whereby we're aiming to work out a workable 5-year deals for people with the new laws that have come in place. Okay, so you can take a look at those things, but under About Us on barryaccountants.ie, you'll find out what it's about. This will take no more than 40 minutes. The standard financial statement is a big long word for a form that shows your money coming in, your money going out, and where it's going. And what the bank are meant to do is look at it and give you a new deal based on what you can afford. Now, they've got 8 options. There are plenty more options too, but there's 8 anyway. And the simplest one for them is always go on interest only for a while. That's like renting your house. But to fill out this form and say, "Can I have interest only?" can take quite a while. Whereas if you say, "Can I have interest only" first, they just won't give it straight away, you know. So you've got to remember, even though you're paying interest, they're making a profit on the interest. They borrow the money, say at 0%, and lend it out at 5%, so that's profit to the bank, and I think they forget that a lot of the time. And if they drop their interest rate, you can start paying off some of the capital. So the standard financial statement, you fill it once, keep a copy of it, and if they want it again, you just update the date, sign it again, and give it to them again. Say nothing has changed, unless it has changed. Why do it? These days, all the new banking laws under the terms of the bailout, they have to assemble a big file on you anyway, so that's why you have to do it. How to do it, we're going to show you now in a moment, where to get the information, and then we have a special offer for you. And I'll tell you what that is now, for people who have attended the webinar today, and I see there's quite a number. What we found is that we wanted people to fill out this form, the standard financial statement, send it to the bank and get the offer, and then appoint us. But what we're finding is the bank are just tying them up in knots, and it's exasperating them. So the very last line on these standard financial statements, you just see it on the AIB one, because they've got a funny form. Yeah, the very last line, I think. I'm going to zoom in here. Let me see, can I zoom in a bit more? Is you can nominate a third party. See here now. Very last line on this huge form. If you consent, if you give us your written consent, we will liaise with a third party nominated by you to act on your behalf. Now, we've kind of steered away from that because there's a lot of work to it. But we're finding now you won't get anything done unless we kind of step in earlier. Simply because we just make them sit up and take notice. Now that form is on page 11 of the AIB form. On the Bank of Ireland form, that offer again is on page 11, because these forms are all the same, right down here at the end. Okay, now we've steered clear, as I said, but I think to get ourselves going and to get you going, we'll have to step in earlier. Okay, so what we're charging for that is a modest €20 per month. It's paid through your credit card or debit card on PayPal. The first month is free, where we get you set up, but you do sign up to this. So you do sign up on our website. So on barryaccountants.ie, you click on Save Your Home, which is on the right hand side, and in there is all the details. Okay, that offer is there for anyone on this webinar who wants to avail of it. We're doing a lot of it anyway, and what we were finding is we were giving people fairly big bills every now and again because it was stop start, but we're very systemized now at this stage. So that's what that's at, and I'll come back to that in a little while. Okay. Right, just a couple of reminders on the psychology of debt. You know, once you start tackling these issues, you now begin to take control of your own situation. On earlier webinars, I went through some of the statistics out there, but effectively, don't bury your head in the sand. I find if you're a husband and wife, the wife will get me the details a lot quicker because her values are different to the husband's values. Research stuff yourself, read the papers. Google things like mortgage forbearance scheme. Google ourselves. Don't just sit at home worrying and having a few drinks. That only makes it worse. Face up to this, don't be embarrassed. There are tens of thousands of people in this. My God. What state is the country in? Okay. Okay, we're going to continue on now, and I'll just run through the form in a moment. Okay, just further down my... Okay, but this is the way you do it. Okay, you do it in a quiet room. Turn off the phone, turn down the TV, and you take the iPads out of the room. Take a breather, and all you're going to do is put together money that's coming in and money that's going out. And we complete this form. When you complete this form, I'm going to reiterate this a few times, you keep a copy of it. By keeping a copy, we can just get it again whenever we need it. We'll double check what we said to your lender before they see it. But either way, you don't want to redo this every 6 months, because the bank, to get rid of you, will ask you to do that. But listen, if you appoint us to represent you for €20 a month, those days are over, okay? I'll handle them. Okay, just a few basics though, okay? A lot of you out there who are struggling to pay your bills and the phone is ringing every minute, and do take a look at our website, barryaccountants.ie, and click on Save Your Home for details of that offer I mentioned earlier. But effectively, you have to pay yourself first, okay? Your life will reflect you. Don't cancel VHI or Bupa. Don't cancel your critical illness cover or life insurance. I mean, don't drive all around the country. But, I mean, don't sell the car to pay the mortgage. Don't give up on the kids' education. And effectively, once you start getting your finances under control via our approach, you start moving from debt to wealth. And we have a very well-established system of paying off people's mortgages in 7 years. I know it sounds hard to get your head around it with the pressures you're under right now, but it's pride improvement. That's for another day. It is on our webinars, though. So, okay. Going to move on to the next slide. All right. These are normal things. You know, anything you're wasting money on, get rid of it. Okay. I just showed you the important things there. Having money in your pocket, being able to go to hospital and knowing you can pay the bill. Get rid of Sky Sports and movies. You don't need them. Buy granulated coffee in the supermarket and a takeaway cup, and don't be buying coffees in the coffee shop all the time. I see the people working for modest wages going out buying takeaway coffee all the time. There's no sense to it. Park somewhere for free and walk a bit further in to where you're going. Don't be paying for parking all the time. If you live close to work, walk. It's better for your fitness, better for your health, wakes you up. Now we're getting big stuff now. This is the type of items that when we're sorting out your debt, that we step in and we justify, okay? If you own a property and it's a buy-to-let property, I'm not talking about your own home, you stop payments on those. If you rent it, you give a percentage of the rent to the bank. Let them have it if they want it. But effectively, we'll do the deal. But if you want to sort out your life and mind your home, we have to stop wasting money. So paying off a property that's unlet, that we can't afford to pay off, certainly is one financial decision we would ask you to make. Only pay what you can afford in those places. If you can afford nothing, you pay nothing. You've got a lot riding on this, so we need to make some tough decisions. So today is really about getting firstly your own home in order. This is an old scheme. It's around for 20 years. This boring term, Standard Financial Statement, SFS, I'll call it from now on. You fill it out once, you keep a copy, and you come back to it. You can make the application yourself. Now, if you go into AIB.ie or bankofireland.ie or permanenttsb.ie or kvc.ie. I was on another one this week whose name escapes me, ulsterbank.ie. You'll see this form. This lays out the scheme, okay? And that's there. But I'm just going to go back to the first thing I said to you. The very last line on the Standard Financial Statement is the bank will deal with someone instead of you on your behalf. Now we're doing that for €20 a month. Think about coming with us, okay? We're good at it. We're used to it. I've had to do it on behalf of my own properties, so I'm in the same boat. But it's not that hard, okay? And it gets you away from answering the phone, worrying about the post coming in, and dealing with different people in the bank all the time. Okay. Alright, so the key of all this is to make yourself debt-free in 5 years. And with the local branch, do ask them for help. They'll be sympathetic. To review whatever offer they give. No, they don't like you knowing this. They are meant to offer you the services of an independent accountant. That can be me, or I would actually nominate a third party, perhaps someone else that you would be interested in as well, you know. Don't ignore the solicitor. You can get a second opinion, but if you hear an opinion you don't like, get a second opinion, and if the two of them you don't like, well, you get a third, I suppose, but I mean, you might have to hear things that are unpalatable. And don't ignore the accountants. You've done one myself. Okay. Right, I'm just going to go through the form now. Now all the forms are the same. Okay, I'm actually going to go to the Bank of Ireland one. And right at the top, the page I'm looking at there is right at the end. But if you go into boi.com or aib.com, I'm just going to show you that Bank of Ireland one now. It just looks like this. Standard Financial Statement, SFS. That's the Bank of Ireland one. The AIB one, they all look the same. I did a permanent TSB one for someone this week. Standard Financial Statement at the top. See there? That's it there. Okay, and it runs down to, both of these will have the exact same information on them. All of these forms will have the exact same information on them. They've all used the same template. Okay, so it doesn't matter which lender you're with, it's the same form. So I'm going to pick the AIB one today, okay, and we'll start running down through the key items. And I hope you can, that seems a little bit out of focus there. My screen just jumped down a small bit. It's a little bit out of focus for some reason. Maybe I'll deal with the AIB one so it might be more in focus. Okay. Alright, obvious ones. Your name, if you're married, name of your wife if she's on the mortgage or your husband is on the mortgage. This is a bit of digging out, okay? Just see the last letter the bank sent you. The mortgage reference number will be at the top. Look at the last loan account statement that was sent to you. It probably came around Christmas. And just see how much you owe. Fill in these details. Don't leave them for the bank to fill in. That'll slow everything down, okay? Just be conservative on what your house is worth. If you pay 300 for it and it's worth 100, say it's worth 100. Monthly mortgage repayments due. It'll be on the last letter from the bank. That's where you get it, okay? So the correspondence from your bank in the last 3 months, if you have that on the table beside you, that's where this will be. Correspondence address where they want to write to you. So in case you're living in England, and the property, as you see here, is in Ireland, write out where you want them to write to you. Now, if you appoint us or appoint someone to act on your behalf, you fill in the address of the people there. So in my case, it'll be Kevin Barry and Company. With a Dublin address or a Clifton address, we go in there. But the property would be the one that's got the mortgage on it. Okay. Now, a lot of this is straightforward. I'm down to the first page ready. Your telephone, your work telephone, your email, whether you're married, single, separated, and your date of birth. Just get stuff done, and you're through page 1. I'm coming to that, so that's the easy bit. Okay, put in the ages of the kids. Not many people must have more than 4 kids. They've got 4 here. Total number in household. If you're employed, say yes or no. If you work at the home, it's a no. What was your previous occupation? If you were a builder, there isn't much work out there, so it would make sense. And be prepared for silly questions coming at you. A guy lately who's married with 2 children who are, say, 10 and 8, was told that 800 a month for food was ridiculous. Now, he was well able to stand his own ground and put them in their place, but they were cheeky to him, 800 a month for 4 people wouldn't just about feed them, and so you will be questioned, or someone on your behalf will be questioned. Now here's the tough questions. Okay, reason for review arrears. Now, if it's a case that rent has dropped or your income has dropped, and they have you on capital and interest, or interest rates have gone up, but the reason for the review is less money coming in, just be upfront on it. Less money available to meet mortgage repayments. Loss of job, illness. Could be that you're paying 2 mortgages, say unlet property has caused strain on my finances. Looking after my mother. Whatever it is, put something down there. Do not leave it blank, because it's going to be key. Okay, so that's the first one, and that's on every form. I'll just jump over to Bank of Ireland. I won't do this every minute now, because we all have places to go. There it is, A20, reason for review in arrears, down there. That's Bank of Ireland's one. A20, reason for review in arrears. You're getting the idea. These forms are all the same. Okay. Now, I would have you fill it out yourself. I would have someone fill it out over the phone with you. This is the heavy stuff then, where you need to have your calculator ready. Okay. But any money coming in. Okay. So if you're paying $2,000 a month before tax and $1,400 a month after tax, put in the 2 figures there. If you don't know the numbers, put in your best estimate. Okay. Same for your husband or wife or partner or whoever the other borrower is, and add them up. The more you do, the quicker it'll speed up getting the job moving. Okay. If you've social welfare coming in, like children's allowance or family income supplement or dole or unemployment benefit or professional, what do you call that thing, way for a job, it escapes me at the moment, whatever it is, put them down here. Okay. So we add up all the money coming in. This is what we said at the start of the webinar. If there's maintenance or a separation, put that in. Don't hold anything back. If you hold something back, it'll be used against you. To get the best deal, we need to be upfront. Okay. And monthly income from rented properties, monthly income from other properties like deposit interest. Put it all down, and we'll see what the total is here at the bottom. But do the addition. I won't do it for you. No one will, if the bank has to do it for you, they'll do it when they get round to it. And meanwhile, your strains will continue. Okay. But these totals will be key in a little while. Right, on the next page now, let's zoom up to the top. Now, if you've all the information ready, get out your last ESB or oil bills and see how much you paid. But by the month, if a fill of oil lasts you 6 months, divide the cost of it. If it was €800, divide that by 6. And put in here €133. Okay. Same with the electricity. If you're getting a bill every 2 months for €200, divide it by 2. Put in the €100 there. Whatever the phone is per month. If you do have TV and cable still. Okay. How much the bins cost? Might be £10 a week for those green bags. TV license by the month, but say £10 a month. If you're behind on these things, mark it down over here. Just mark down what you're behind. We need to paint a picture here. If you're paying out for childcare or for reminding an elderly relative, just even to your best estimate, work out how much a year you're spending divided by 12. Just get the figures down. Petrol a week. It's hard to spend less than €100 a week on petrol. And if you are spending that, put it down. Look up and see how much you paid for car insurance on the NCT. I mean, this is a good exercise to see where your money is going. Okay, and you zoom through there. We're coming to the tough ones now in a second though. These are easy, you'll find these. And now mortgage protection is if you die, the mortgage is paid off, but there's no money left over. It's generally cheap, around 20 quid a month. But if you have a dearer policy, even the likes of me might point out, you could save a few hundred a month by changing policies, Payment protection, we got back 18,000 for someone last month on payment protection insurance that was missold. So if you're paying into that, maybe you shouldn't be. House insurance, if you don't have it, say you don't have it, if you're in arrears or can't afford it. But these are the items I crossed at the start of the webinar that I said we want to mind. Books for the kids at school, I mean, they're costing all the time. People think they aren't, but they are. Put something down. Uniforms, be once a year, might be €200, divided by the 12 again. So fill this out, all the way down to medical. There's your life assurance, pensions. You may have stopped them by now if you're under trouble with your mortgage. So, but effectively, there's a lot of information going down here. That's no harm for you to think about. Okay. Maintenance paid to the spouse or child. Okay, that's obviously if you're separated, you're trying to pay the mortgage and have an agreement with a former spouse to maintain the family. It's quite common now. If you're paying rent, no problem here. Now here's the details. Okay, these are going to be key. I'm going to run through what we did on a guy we advised just over a week ago. Please provide details of any steps you've taken. Do not leave this blank. Okay, this is going to speed up everything. You've made cutbacks where you haven't even thought about it. Okay. Now this is the type of stuff I've seen go down and I've advised go down because it's the truth. Okay. Okay, what one person done, and I didn't like it, was they had stopped having breakfast in the morning. Okay, so we're under C38 here. Steps already done. They had taken takeaway lunch with them to work instead of going out to lunch. They had turned off the heat in the mornings and only had it on for 1 hour at night. They had turned down the thermostat. They had turned off radiators in other rooms. They had got rid of Sky. They bought no more coffees. They cancelled their house insurance. They had started shopping in Lidl and Aldi more often than in SuperValu or Tesco. They had cut out trips away completely as regards holidays. Okay, and we ended up with these savings and saved them about €600 a month. Okay, they stopped buying Christmas presents for all family members, did a Chris Kindle. That's the type of stuff that goes down there. This is real. If you look at your life, if you're serious about getting back on track, you will have made a lot of these moves already. So get them down there. So the ones you know you've done, write them down, and before this form is finished, you'll have a few more that will strike you. And then the next one, please provide details of any steps you propose to take to reduce your monthly expenditure. Now, there's a couple of things here. Is there any more room? Okay, there may not be. The savings made at phase 1 might be spent re-establishing yourself with the VHI or something like that. Okay, so steps we propose to take might be not paying the mortgage on a buy-to-let property and using that money towards our home mortgage. There's one. Second one might be going to work from home, selling items on eBay. Third one could be that we're not going to drive to Galway once a week shopping, or drive to Dublin, or drive to Nice, or drive to Cork. We're going to get the bus. Okay, that's going to be the third one. The fourth one could be that we're going to let go of the childminder and have granny mind them. Okay, so these are the type of items that need to go down here. And most of the discussion that I would have on people's behalf would centre around these two boxes. So this is where it needs to happen, okay? Now feel free to ask questions in a few moments. So, okay, but those C38 boxes are mighty. Now you're back now to the small bit of the heavy stuff. Okay, where we just need to this is no harm, it just needs to be done once. Okay, it's just what you owe. So forget the right hand side here, I'm just going to zoom in on the left. So the first thing is, I find a lot of people forget what they owe. So you got the mortgage for your home, how much the bank is looking for and how much you're paying. That's going to be quick enough. They might be looking for $2,500, they're paying $400 a month. Okay, that's easy. If you were forced into court to pay something, write it down here. If you have a credit loan, how much a month you have to pay there. If you're paying down an overdraft or a term loan or credit cards, mark down what the minimum payments are here. Any personal loans, either from a lending institution or from the family or pals, put it down there. Have you another mortgage in other places? Just put down the monthly payments that have been asked of you here. Just been asked of you. And what you're paying, if you're paying $0, mark it down on the second side. Okay, this just sets a kind of a picture. How many years have to go in these loans? 5 years, 6 months, mark it down. How much is it owing overall? Now here they're just asking, remember, how much you're paying per month. Here they're asking how much is owing overall. Okay? So don't get confused on that one. And if you're behind schedule on the payments, put it down there. That's not major, that part, okay? Who the lender is? AIB, Bank of Ireland, KBC, GE Finance, GE Capital. There's tons of them. Springboard. Purpose of the loan. Doing up the house, holidays, buy a car. Is it secured? You may not know the answer to that. It'll be in the agreement. So a credit card wouldn't be secured, a house mortgage would. Currently be structured. Have you done some deal already on these things? Pay off a certain amount of months, say yes or no, that's all. And if there's payment protection insurance, I'd be interested to find that out. Okay, but I just wanted to show you the items at the left there first, rather than get stuck in the size of that. Most people would have most of these boxes empty. Okay, but it's highly likely that you might have a hire purchase on a TV, you might have a personal overdraft somewhere, you have a little loan from the credit union, you have borrowed from family and friends to keep the wolf from the door, you might have a second property in Spain with a loan on it, and there's credit cards due. These would be, but no one has all those that I've found anyway. Okay, that's page 7. We're nearly there. It's only as far as page 11. What you own and owe. Okay, we've just done what you owe, what we own. So if you have other apartments, what are they? If they buy to let, just means you bought them to rent them out. Okay, so it might be Echo apartment, it could be a Dublin apartment, it could be a Spanish apartment, French apartment. Freehold or leasehold, what it's worth, how much is owing on it. If you're behind on the mortgage, say how much you're behind, and if there's rent coming in. Okay, it just sets the picture of what way you're fixed. If there's rent coming in, there's probably items to be paid, so it could be a manager minding it. And if you've some deal done, like it's interest only for 5 years, like I did on a place in Spain, say that. What are the mortgage payments due on it, and who is that lender? Get it all down. If you're selling it, say yes or no. But is it really for sale yet? Okay. The addresses then. This is just the address. This is the key item here, the address. So up here you've listed what they are, and here you're writing down the exact address. Okay, so that's not going to knock you out. Okay, so if you're doing this on a wet Tuesday evening with a cup of coffee beside you, the TV off, the mobile phone off, and the kids in bed, you'll fly through this, believe me. So don't be put off by it. Okay, just anything else coming at you. If you have other savings, shares, bank might say you've got savings of 4,000 somewhere, we want it. I will not be handing that over, okay? It'll come back to much earlier in the presentation, where I said, okay, it is, you have to get these items together first, alright? Have the basics, fine. Feed yourself properly, exercise properly, get your brain moving again. Hire us or someone like us if you need us, but we need to get back on track, okay? Okay, this is still going on. So if there's anything else out there, mark it down here. If you can't find the exact amount, your best estimate. This is a legal document. If you lie in it, it could come really back to hurt you, you know? So don't mess up on that. So if you share somewhere, say it. If you want to sell them. Mark down the value of your car, what it cost you, and what's worth now. If anything is making you any money. So there's a long-term investment. You might have 20,000 in the post office that pays you 200 a year. If it pays you nothing per month, say it pays you nothing per month. But fill out this as best you can. If this is only half filled out and it came into me, I'd just be sending you back. So don't waste your own time. Now, another one. Please list all other liabilities, for example, any guarantees. Okay, if you've guaranteed the overdraft of the company you own, or you've guaranteed the car loan of a nephew, or you are potentially on the hook for someone else's mortgage, just due to something you signed, write it down here. The more you will do yourself a disservice by not writing it down, and the more we know about you, the more we can get you the best deal legally. you'll find everyone will act in their own best interest. I will act in your best interest, but the bank people just want to get the money off you. I hate to be that blunt, they're not heartless, but that's their job. And lastly, please provide any other information which you believe is relevant to the above. I completed one of these for a guy yesterday for Springboard. Springboard are, in America, they would call them a hard lender. And they're screaming down the phone and it's completely out of order. But anyway, his wife has cancer. He's a handicapped child and he suffered a serious heart attack last year and he's over 65. So that information went down and I had a medical report to back that up. So I'm just putting them on notice now, and I wrote a very strong letter and the pressure needs to ease for this guy. So let's see what happens. But any other information, don't hold back, but it should be to your benefit, not theirs. If there's an inheritance coming or something like that, we need to talk about that before you complete that type of thing out. If it's coming, or you think it'll come, it's down to looking after yourself first, being restructured. I'm not trying to keep money away from your lender or anything like that, but we might just have to look at the implications of that. Maybe selling that inheritance would clear your problem, maybe it wouldn't, you know. So these are items where you go back to the thing I said earlier, which was here. Don't ignore your solicitor and don't ignore your accountant. If you don't like the answer, get a second opinion. Might be the best couple of quid you always have to spend. Okay. And that, guys, is really that. Now, this is where I come in. You sign them here. Okay, and then I go back into that form and I look at the total money coming in, total money going out, and what the position is after that. And I will be using the minus or the plus down here to go after the split mortgage, which is the only way to go on saving your home. And I would use the information in that form to get the job done. So the more complete it is, the more accurate it is, the more you're home free. But that is as simple as it is to fill out that form. And I will say that the size of it puts people off. The complexity kind of puts people off, even though it's not that complex. But it's a case of, I'll just go back to where we were. Act sooner rather than later. Get the free information that's out there. But when you're filling out the form, set the time aside. Have the kids in bed. You know, say I'm going to do it tonight. Add up what's coming in and what's going out. Get it down on that form. Keep a copy of that form and get it into your bank or get it into someone like me and get the show on the road. Okay. Now, just to finish, some special offer we have for the people on the webinar. And just if any of you want to type in a question, you can. No problem with that. Is on our website, barryaccountants.ie, and I'm not able, I think, to get it up on here, something to do with Java. You click on Save Your Home, and in the next day or so, there's a form that you download, and you can point us to represent you, or you can point anyone to represent you, your solicitor, your family accountant, or just do it yourself. But if you want us, it's very modest for you, €20 per month. We have a lot of them, it's enough, and it's mostly letters and emails flying back and over. But we're on it and we're aiming to end the relationship with you, not that we want to get rid of you, but until we get a deal for you with the bank. The best thing we can do in the meantime is smother them with information, demand a meeting, demand a solution, and get it. And you can stay with us after that if you like, or not, you know, so it shouldn't be a long-term relationship. So if you want to ask us any questions, you can do some online now, but this webinar will be saved and you'll be getting a copy. That's my email address there if you have any questions that occur to you after today. And this is the website I've joined. It's a couple of lads who are aiming to be the negotiators. I'm one of them on irishpersonalinsolvency.com. You can just register on that and you'll get an email response confirming it, but effectively we'll be keeping the information coming to you for free in the next number of months while we're kind of building up our database, you know. But it's what you should be doing now in order to get the best deal for yourself as soon as the laws allow. They're nearly there. You can see the panic on the newspapers from the banks. And they're calling people in. But this isn't that type of webinar at the moment. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in. I'm actually for the crack gonna hello. Just gonna say hello so you know what I look like. Anyway, I look half okay sometimes. But if anyone has any direct questions they'd like to ask, they could ask them now. And if you don't, that's fine, and we'll finish up. Sorry, now I just took down my presentation. So yeah, Fresh Start is the real name of that company, but the website address is irishpersonalsolvency.com. So yeah, I see there's a question coming in now. I'll do my best to answer it here. But the one thing I would say is don't be afraid of those forms. When you're on your lender's website, you'll see this form pretty quick. Now it's not done by a bank, really. You know, they've got their crest in it. That's done by the central bank. You regulate the banks. And okay, I see a question there from Dorothy. Hello, Dorothy. Do you have to sell your buy-to-lets before you know the deal the bank will do with you? The answer to that is definitely no. Often this comes down to the quality of the person you're dealing with. There's some excellent people in the banks who understand what it takes to sort things out. Sometimes there's people who just, I hate to say this, just don't have a clue. But do you have to sell your buy-to-let? No, but the one thing I would do is, if it's not rented, stop paying the mortgage on it. That's the first thing. If it is rented, maybe hand over 90% of the rent and use the other 10% to cover your time and insurance and MPPR and household charge and all these expenses of normal repairs. But no, you don't have to sell the buy-to-let. Definitely not. It helps. And you don't really have to sell anything, you just need to have a plan together. So the plan might be, I'm going to sell items, but in the meantime I'm going to pay my mortgage. And I need a different type of deal for a couple of years till I get back on my feet. Now we would be aiming for a write-off of part of the debt, but until we see what's on that standard financial statement, you don't really know where you're at, you know. Okay, so there's always a solution, but whether the solution is one that you're willing to live with or not live with, you don't know until we get the information. Okay, well that's the only question. I have another question actually in there as well, which is the easiest banks to deal with. They're all, I'll put it this way, they're all the same. You've got to arm yourself with knowledge and representation to handle them. One thing I would say is Bank of Scotland have left, and a couple of other banks have left the jurisdiction, so they don't want to deal with you long term, whereas the ones who are here, like Ulster Bank and Bank of Ireland and AIB, who are here for the long haul, have a different priority. They may not want you to sell anything, whereas the ones who've left do. So it's horses for courses. It only comes back to this form. Until you get this form filled out, it's a waste of time trying to get anything done. They just use it as a delaying tactic. Okay? Right, I'll be finishing off. I just see one more question coming in again, Dorothy. You're all action there. I can't give you a right answer on that because the answer is sometimes. Will the bank accept a lump sum in settlement as opposed to doing an involuntary arrangement over 5 years? Yes, but it depends what you have and what you can offer. When they see what's on that form and they see what's available or potentially available, and if we ask for that straight away, we wouldn't get it, but by the time you can convince them that we're not fooling them and we're not misleading them, then they will accept it. And actually I've done that a few times with the main banks, but it was very begrudging that they accepted it. They were given out, and the person who I made the offer to was never the acceptor. It would come from much higher, and the local person would be upset by the fact that we got it over the line, so. Okay, well, listen, thanks for tuning in. I hope that was some help. You have my email addresses there, and if there's anything else I can help you with, but I would say if you haven't already registered on this website, do. And remember, just take a last look at the end of these forms, which is you can appoint someone to represent you. Okay, very last line. They don't really want you to do that because now there's someone who can handle them and can't be intimidated. But the fact it's on the last line in the small print says it all, really. You know, so it's not really right. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Bye for now.